Satya, mind, body, spirit, health, and healing. I could not be more thrilled about tonight's TMS talk. It comes from the Broken Record podcast and is a conversation between Rick Rubin, a brilliant longtime music producer who has produced everybody from the Beastie Boys and the Red Hot Chili Peppers to Tom Petty and Johnny Cash, and John Frusciante, a longtime band member of the Red Hot Chili Peppers and guitar virtuoso. This couldn't be a more elegant portrayal of the mind-body process at work. This is a good time to have a little reminder that the label TMS is not something to become overly attached to. It is just an easy way to identify what it is that we are talking about. Okay, I hope you love this as much as I do.
So it's your interpretation of what's happening. It's what's happening inside. It's not.
Yeah, I was judging everything as I was doing. It was so important to me to play in a certain way that I wanted to play on that record.
Yeah.
I was trying to have a little more of the looseness of live than I'd had on any of our records before, and the energy of the live playing. And I think I'd put too much pressure on myself to where most of the record flowed out really nicely, but the first week or two I was experiencing a really negative thing where I was just judging every moment as it happened successively, and I wasn't able to get into the groove. I wasn't able to anticipate it. I wasn't able to be in the moment. And
what do you think shifted it? Because you said it was for the first few weeks.
It was a meditation thing I did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because there was a bad feeling in my stomach that was associated with the mental state. And I did a guided meditation with somebody. First I meditated on this thing in my stomach, and then I meditated on, he said there's a secondary part where you're feeling a similar kind of unease, a similar kind of pain. Try to figure out, let's get off the phone and figure out where in your body is that. And I found that it was this spot right here, just my wrist. On the opposite side is the palm of my hand.
Yeah.
And
back of the left wrist.
Yeah, it might have been both wrists, but it was very subtle. I would have never even noticed that there was a feeling there. But when I tried to separate myself from the feeling in my stomach, it was there. And so I meditated on that for a long time. And then I got on the phone with him again, and then he said, there's a third point. You know, I can't remember what it was, but I went to, maybe it was the throat or something, whatever it was. And eventually a whole explosion of thoughts came out about a friendship that I'd had when I was young that went bad.
Wow.
That was followed by a period of time of me intensely trying to play guitar in a way that impressed people.
I see.
And the way I intended to play on that record had a connection with that point in time. That's what I
And it was lodged in your body.
Yeah, and so I had summed the thing up in that way. All of a sudden, all these memories came back of this friendship that went bad, and the desire to impress people that was followed. Like before that, I was just more arty, just being creative. After that, I had a determined thing, like I'm going to play in a way that's going to impress people and that nobody's going to be able to tell me I'm not a good guitar player and all this stuff, like, which isn't possible. Like, I've heard the people talk shit about the greatest guitar players ever, whether it's Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Alan Holdsworth, Eddie Van Halen. Like, I've heard loads of people say that they're bad guitarists, you know, like, so you can't escape it. So I don't advise anybody to ever try.
It's also, if
goal.
you're doing something new or going out on a limb, if you're really going forward, there are always people who will resist. Always.
Yeah.
They have no context for it, you know.
So with everything I'd learned about making music for how it sounds and going with your feelings and supporting your bandmates and all that kind of stuff, when we went in the studio to do Stadium, I was just kind of like, I had this idea that I was going to play in a way that was going to draw more attention to the guitar playing. And I think I really had to get my ego out of the way of it. Like, I feel like that's where the conflict came from that caused the pain. Yeah, I had to reel it in a little bit and just get inside the feeling of the songs and not worry about, like, the playing in a more flashy way was going to have to just come naturally. I had to get that, because that's kind of what you're doing anytime that you're thinking of a reaction that you want from people separate from the feeling. It's just
it never works.
Yeah, it doesn't work. And so that's where I had some intelligent part of me telling myself, this you can't go down this path. So it was a little conflict. But once I had that memory and saw the relationship between those two things, losing that friend and focusing on being impressive to other people, I was able to go back into the record with my stomach feeling relaxed, with being able to be completely in the moment without worrying about what people were going to think of it or anything, and just doing what came naturally.
This content has been created with the sole intent of educating about, increasing awareness around, and deepening the understanding of the mind-body syndrome, and more broadly speaking, the mind-body-spirit connection. To hear this clip in its full context, please visit the original media source. And to learn more about the mind-body-spirit connection, you can visit howtosayfupolitely.com. Until next time, love your struggle and remain free.